Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Milk's Spooky Corner. This is what I believe may be the final episode of this season, so I decided to do something a little fun. This episode is a countdown of my top 10 favorite spooky movies. I say spooky instead of horror because this may shock you, but some of these aren't actually scary. Also, I just want to say I do not claim to have good taste in movies. These are all just movies that I personally love and find very entertaining and rewatchable. Before we start, here's a little trigger warning. Some of the movies I'll be mentioning are a bit scary or gory. I won't be showing any actual gore, but this is just a heads up. There's also going to be some spoilers. Now let's get into it. Starting off at the bottom of our list, we have Martyrs. Pascal Laugier directs this French horror film about Lucy and Anna, who go on a murderous crusade to find and punish the people who kidnapped and tortured Lucy when she was younger. Their hunt reveals a circuit of torture by a secret society determined to discover secrets about the afterlife by creating martyrs. But what is a martyr? The definition of a martyr is a person who is killed because of their religious or other beliefs. This movie has such good twists and turns, and honestly, one of my favorite endings of any horror movie. The plot twist is crazy. It's pretty gory and very disturbing, so it's classified as a movie horror fans only watch once. Number 9, Hostel. Hostel is pretty much just a gore film, but it has such an interesting plotline too. Best friends Josh and Paxton decide to spend the summer after college graduation on an all-out backpacking trip across Europe. While stopping in Amsterdam to indulge their taste for drugs and sex, they meet Ollie, a like-minded traveler from Iceland. When the three bachelors set off to investigate enticing rumors of a Slovakian hostel in a city populated by lusty women, they find themselves drawn unwittingly into a deadly game. There's an underground organization known as the Elite Hunting Club where extremely wealthy individuals get to pay to torture people who stay at this hostel. It has some crazy gore and is not for the weak-stomached or minded, to be honest. But for those of you who enjoy this sort of stuff, I definitely recommend checking it out. Number 8, The Silenced. This is a South Korean horror film set in Gyeongsang in 1938. During the Japanese occupation, the film centers on Juran Shizuko, played by Park Bo-young, who you may recognize from Strong Girl Bong Soon, a sickly young girl who gets transferred to an all-girls boarding school to recover her health as she has tuberculosis. Her physical condition improves thanks to her new friend Yeonduk and the headmistress's special treatment program. But she soon notices that students are disappearing one by one and that her own body is undergoing abnormal changes. Determined to uncover the truth, Juran starts to investigate the mysterious happenings and the school's possible role in them. This movie absolutely breaks me. I cry every time I watch it, and I have rewatched it so many times. There's an extreme plot twist and a couple scary scenes, although I wouldn't say this movie's goal is to scare you, if you know what I mean. It's more on the drama and storytelling side of the horror spectrum. Number 7, Scream. One of the most infamous horror movies of all time, a true classic, Scream. A year after her mother's death, Sydney Prescott and her friends started experiencing some strange phone calls. They later learned the calls were coming from a crazed serial killer in a white-faced mask and a large black robe known as Ghostface, looking for revenge. His phone calls usually consist of many questions, the main one being the iconic,
"What's your favorite scary movie?"
followed by some scary movie trivia, ending with bloody pieces of innocent lives scattered around the small town of Woodsboro. Local tabloid news reporter Gail Weathers and Woodsboro's deputy Dwight Dewey Riley investigate and try to figure out who the killer is and if it's the same person who killed Sid's mom the year before. If you are a horror fan and haven't seen this movie, what's wrong with you? I'm just kidding, but seriously, go check it out. It's a classic for a reason. Number 6, Hotel Transylvania. I told you they weren't all horror movies. When monsters want to get away from it all, they go to Count Dracula's, Adam Sandler's, Hotel Transylvania, a lavish resort where they can be themselves without humans around to bother them. On one special weekend, Dracula invites creatures like the Invisible Man, the Mummy, Frankenstein, and others to celebrate the 118th birthday of his daughter, Mavis, Selena Gomez, a young vampire who wants to go out and see the world. However, an unforeseen complication unfolds when an ordinary human unwittingly crashes the party and falls in love with Mavis. This movie holds such a big place in my heart. It's a family-friendly animated film that's actually really funny, like not just to kids, and is super clever portraying the monsters in humans. I'm 20 and I still rewatch this movie over and over again. It's just such a good, feel good and entertaining movie. Number 5, the entire Saw series. In the first film, photographer Adam Stanheight and oncologist Lawrence Gordon regain consciousness while chained to pipes at either end of a filthy bathroom. As the two men realize they've been trapped by a sadistic serial killer nicknamed Jigsaw and must complete his perverse puzzle to live, flashbacks relate to the fates of his previous victims. Meanwhile, Dr. Gordon's wife and young daughter are forced to watch his torture via closed-circuit video. I love every single movie in this franchise besides the newest two, but they're still a fun watch. These movies are filled with the most unique torture devices and methods you'll ever see, and there's some great plot twists in them. Number 4, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. When Sally hears that her grandfather's grave may have been vandalized, she and her paraplegic brother Franklin set out with their friends to investigate. After a detour to their family's old farmhouse, they discover a group of crazed, murderous outcasts living next door. As the group is attacked one by one by the chainsaw-wielding Leatherface, who wears a mask of human skin, the survivors must do everything they can to escape. There's about 9 movies in this franchise, but the first one is honestly the best. I like the second one too a lot though. I'm a diehard fan of this movie and the whole series. Number 3, Bride of Chucky. Sorry Jack, Chucky's back. In this horror flick, the murderous serial killer Charles Lee Ray has his body parts being held at a criminal evidence station in the form of a small doll known as the famous Chucky. When his old-time sweetheart, Tiffany Valentine, picks up his remaining limbs and puts them back together again, she performs a ritual that revives the murderous maniac. But Chucky decides that he wants another individual to help him with his dirty work, so he kills Tiffany and then revives her as a doll bride. When they decide to spend their honeymoon with another happy couple on the highway, it becomes another murder spree. With a bloodbath on wheels and 2 murderous dolls, the human couples find that this was going to be a highway to hell in this gruesome film of blood and gore and a little bit of Chucky and Tiffany. Tiffany Valentine is played by Jennifer Tilly, my favorite actress, and I am literally in love with Tiffany's character. This movie is actually pretty funny, and I love watching Chucky and Tiff's relationship. Definitely watch this if you're looking for a fun horror movie with some lovable characters. Number 2, The Addams Family Values. This is the second movie in the Addams Family franchise, by the way. Pugsley and Wednesday Addams aren't happy with the new addition to the family, their new baby brother Pubert. Morticia is restless and Gomez only wants her to be happy, so he tries to fix everyone's problems by hiring a nanny and finally finds the perfect nanny in Debbie. Debbie, a seemingly innocent woman with an impeccable wardrobe and a way with her hands. She charms the family, especially Uncle Fester, who falls head over heels for her. But Wednesday and Pugsley see through her sensual facade. She's only after Fester's money. Before they can rat on her, she ships him off to summer camp, then marries Fester. While she tries and tries and tries and tries to kill him and make it look accidental, Pugsley and Wednesday must battle ever-cheery camp directors and spoiled rich kids to get back to their family and warn them about Debbie. This is another non-horror but spooky movie with my favorite goth family of all time. It's hilarious and clever, and even the villain Debbie is pretty likable, at least in my opinion. I can never get bored of watching this family. And finally, for first place, we have Beetlejuice. This is the story of Adam and Barbara, who live in a beautiful house in New England. One day while driving home, they are involved in a terrible auto accident. They manage to make it home, only to discover later that they have died and now haunt their house. When their house is purchased by an out-of-state family, they feel their home is threatened by the over-the-top artist's wife and real estate idea man husband. Their only relief is the gothic daughter of the family, Lydia Dietz. Their attempts at scaring the family out of the house are ignored or laughed at. Finally, they fall to the temptation to use the people exorciser, Beetlejuice. When they find his tactics too dangerous, they attempt to contain him and save the very family they were trying to boot. This will always be my favorite movie ever. I've grown up watching it. I had it on DVD when I was a kid, and I will forever continue to watch it over and over again. It's hilarious, and the characters are so over the top and lovable, and the depictions of death and the afterlife are so freaky, but in an oddly comforting way, at least to me. I adore this movie. and I think it's earned its spot as number 1. And there you have it, folks, my personal top 10 favorite spooky movies. I hope you found this episode interesting and fun and entertaining and end up actually checking out some of my faves. Or maybe some of these are your favorites too, which in that case I say you have great taste. I had so much fun this season and will hopefully be seeing you guys for another. I hope you all have a very spooky summer vacation. Bye guys!